did not get done. And we completely missed out on what we could have had, all because our systems fell apart. All right, so you one of the first things you got to think about is who's going to own this process. Who's responsible for the thing that we're getting ready to do? All right, and you've got to think about that at every step of the journey, not just one, but at every single step of the journey. Who's responsible? At every portion of this, who's responsible? Who is it? Who's going to do it? Who's going to make it happen? Every step of the journey. All right. So here's again going through this example. The guest card received, somebody is responsible for that. Who's responsible for making the phone calls? That's one of the things I did at our current church. When I took over the Harvest Ministry, is that I took this elaborate process, because from where I sit, the process is pretty elaborate. Right? There's an automated email, there's a phone call, there's getting them to show up to the new members class, there's plugging in and making sure they're plugged into a ministry after they go through new members, all of that. But our team members, as far as they're concerned, they're broken down into their unique responsibilities. So the intake team who goes back with people on Sunday, so we have no lag. Once they can bring the people back and welcome them and show them a video and do all of that stuff, as soon as all those people leave, they sit there and plug that card into our system immediately. They take out their phones, they copy the information from the card into a digital form that they all have a link to. Once they do that, they get up, they leave. Their job for the week is completely done. Y'all walk back with the people. Somebody play the video from our pastor and first lady, a welcome video. After we play that video, we got a designated person who's gonna get up and talk, welcome the people, thank them, encourage them to fill out the card. Y'all stand around and watch them fill out the card and make sure you can read it. Because we would get cards that people would fill out and we like, man, we can't understand what they're saying. Well, look, you stand over them and make sure it's legible. Is that a 4 or a 9? What is that, right? They stand over them and do it. Once that's done, they fill in the card. God bless you, I'm gone. All I need from them, sit in service, enjoy yourself. If somebody comes forward and it's time for them to go back, y'all get up and go behind. That's all I need from you. 30 minutes a Sunday, max. And guess what? It's so simple that if we needed them to do it every Sunday, they would. Because it's simple. But then they leave, and then now we've got a separate group of people who are our call-out team. And their part of the system is I make the phone calls. So when we put them in, when the guest people put them in the system, the intake people, I then, or our other leader goes into the system and assigns that call to the individual call people. On average, each person gets 2 to 3 calls a week that they make. They get an email through our system that says, here's who the person is, call them, welcome them, let them know to be on the lookout for a registration for our new members class, right? So we're walking through who owns what and where that is. All right, really quickly, is y'all process right now that clear when it comes to guests? What do you feel like is missing? Okay. So after the original call, that's where your process falls flat. Okay, got you. Okay, say it again. Okay, so tell me really quickly, just as a point of reference. I won't dive into it too deep because we're going to build a system here in a second. But as a point of reference, where you say it's the process is dying and falling short, what would you like to see happen after that call? Okay, gotcha. Right. Okay. And you invite them to come back. Hmm. They stop. Yeah, for sure. So what you want to have is, again, let's go back to the F, the focus. You have got to drive into your team that this process is not complete until you hit our goal. It doesn't stop because they didn't answer the phone when you called. It doesn't stop because they didn't reply the first time you tried to reach out to them. So that means that you want to put in process, even if there's an automated portion, and a lot of this you want to automate, but you want to put something in place where you follow when people ready. So, for example, not only are we going to send you an immediate text message when your stuff goes into the system, text messages have a 97% open rate. As much as people can say I didn't get it, it's 97% delivery and open rate. Right now, some people may not get it simply because there is, you can have different inboxes if you've got iPhone. Like iPhone can sometimes filter stuff out, but for the most part, text messages get delivered. Okay, so you want to have an automatic text message. You want to have an automated email. Now, a lot of people don't have email. If you get a 30% open rate on email, you're doing really good. So let me just give you something there. If you get 30%, you're doing good. Most industry, depending on your industry, 25% might be normal open rate for email because people get so many emails that they tend to just kind of wash through sometimes, right? And that happens. So, so you got to understand that. But then now you got the phone call. But then you don't have, just because you sent one email, you don't have to stop. So yeah, leave the voicemail, leave the text message. One of the things that we're working on now in our system is the ability to do voice note call outs. So very soon we're going to have the ability where I can record myself saying, "Hey, this is Pastor Henry. We are so grateful that you came to church this past Sunday. I just want to let you know it's Sunday night, and I'm sitting here in my office, and I'm just grateful for you, Lord. Thank you so much for coming. And I want to say, I would love to grab a moment to get coffee with you this week if you're available. So look, all you got to do is just respond to this message, or just text me on this number, and I'll look forward to connecting with you. I take that voice message, put it in our system, attach it to the people who came to visit that day. Click send. Their phone is going to ring. They're going to get that voice note. And I can take that same audio file, put it in a text message, and send it out so it comes through like a text voice note. So now, if you don't pick up the phone, in that text message, you click a button. "Hey, this is Pastor Henry. I just want to let you know, thank you so much for coming, blah, blah, blah." Right? And so all I'm saying is you can build your system with as much tenacity as you want to. With as much tenacity as you want. You can build it as detailed as you want it to be so that so that you continue to follow up with people until you get where you're trying to go. Does that make sense? All right. So you got to know who owns it, right? If everybody owns it, nobody owns it. If everybody owns it, nobody owns it. So you got to make sure you know who owns that process, who owns that system, and who's responsible for it. Because if you don't, it'll fall through the cracks. If nobody's responsible, it will fall right through the cracks, and you'll be frustrated, wondering what happened and where things went. Does that make sense? All right, let's keep. All right, last piece. Toya, can you help me out real quick? Um, I need that phone case and this phone right here, and then that charger, so I can play this with you guys. Thank you. All right. Last piece is the S, which is the score. These are basically the metrics. All right, you got to have a way to know um, what's happening and how things are going. I want to plug it up right here. You can take that phone down. I'm not using it right now. Yeah. I tried to restart the screen a different way, so I'm not sure if it's. All right. So a couple of things you want to track if you want to measure your system. Number one, volume in. How many people entered the system? How many people came in? How many guests did you have? How many first-time visitors did you have? Told you. Phone number. How many decisions for Christ did you have? And you need to distinguish between those things. Be as specific as possible when you're measuring this stuff. All right. Be as detailed as you possibly can. Don't just group it all together. Be detailed. How many people came for salvation? How many people came for rededication? Right? You need to know exactly what your metrics are so that you can keep good data. And we're learning this, but man, listen, data is so valuable in the times that we live in. Data is so valuable. Even simple stuff. If you keep track of your attendance metrics and things of that nature throughout the week and throughout the year, you'll be able to even predict what your good Sundays are, what your bad Sundays are. I'll never forget, in my first pastorate, it didn't take me long to realize 4th of July weekend was our absolute worst attended service every year. It was awful. So what I was looking for a weekend of summer to take off anyway. That's on the 4th of July. All right, you can do the same. And so data helps you understand your rhythms. It helps you understand what days to start series. It helps you understand all that kind of stuff like that. All right. So you got to measure volume in. The second thing you got to measure is throughput. And that's basically how many people went through the process. How many people went through the process? What's the difference between the number of people who came into the system and the number of people that we were actually able to get through the entire process? Now, I want to tell you this. Don't be discouraged. Do not be discouraged by all the people who don't respond. I'm going to go ahead and tell you now. You put forth your best effort, but you can't control it. You can't make them jokers answer the phone. Try as you might. You can't make them answer the phone. You can't make them do any of that stuff. All you can do is do your absolute best. All you can do is do your absolute best to try and make sure that you're reaching out to people. That's all you can do. All right, so you can do your best, but you need to track it. And then the last one is, did you hit your goal? Did you hit your goal? Did you get where you were trying to go? Did you do what you were trying to do? All right. And one of the things that you got to do, we talked about this earlier in our morning session. Delegation without investigation is an abomination. So sometimes investigation looks like reviewing the numbers. Every Tuesday we have our church staff meeting, we review the numbers. Every Monday morning, some of y'all sitting on our Simple System staff meeting, we review the numbers. Like we're looking at the metrics to figure out what's going well, what's not going well. Because there's a direct correlation between all the metrics in your church. Between the number of first-time guests, the number of new members, the number of volunteers, the number of leaders. You can't get new leaders until you first get volunteers. You can't get volunteers until you first get members. You can't get members until you first get guests. And so you got to reverse engineer that thing. You need new leaders. It starts with how you manage guests. It starts with how you bring in first timers. That's where it starts. And so you've got to be aware of that. Right? You've got to be aware of what the goals are, what you're trying to do, how to get from where you are to where you're trying to go. All right. Final. Before I go to the final piece, let me give you this. So here's a couple of common reasons why so many systems fall short and fail. All right. Number one, having too many goals for one system. Too many goals for one system. You know, the way to fix that is that you need to have separate systems for everything that you want to do. Everything is a system. Build separate systems and break it down. I was doing some work because, you know, like many of us, I have a real challenge reaching some of the goals that I want to reach, primarily health goals. I've had this goal for the last 10 years to look like I did in college. Ain't got there yet, y'all. I got about 50 more pounds to go. Right? And here's what happens is I set this big old macro goal. Man, I got to get these 50 pounds off. I want to go to the gym every day. I want to be a gym bro. I want to go to the gym 7 days a week. I want to eat clean, no cheat days. Like, that's how I come out. And my wife tells me all the time, you too extreme. I can't fast with you. Because you wake up today and want to start today and jump full swing ahead. No warm up, no preparation. You ain't shopped. You ain't prepared. No, let's go. The Lord said now. And then 3 days later, I'm back eating with her. Right? And here's what happens. I try to put too many goals in my system. I need to break it down. All right? I need to break it down. I'll talk to you more about that in a second. Number two is hidden leaders. Sometimes we have systems, but it's not clear how people get into it. People don't know how to start the process, or we don't make it easy for people to start the process. It's just like if you have a business. It's like having a business and not having a way for people to pay you. If y'all can believe this, in the year of our Lord, 2025, I went into a restaurant. I can't remember where I was. And they didn't take cards. In the year of our Lord, 2025, it was cash only. Guess what they didn't get from me? On sale? They said, oh, we cash only. I was like, damn, what is that? Of course, I was joking, but the lady was looking like, you don't know what cash is? I was like, man, of course I know what cash is, but I don't carry it, especially not for this. If I do, I carry a few loose bills for an emergency. You know, but imagine having all this to offer as a church. You have no way for people to get into your system. You want guests. How do people go on your website and say, hey, I'm coming to visit this Sunday? How do people do that? How do people do that? And think about this for everything. Somebody wants to serve in a ministry. How do people log on? How do people get plugged in and say, I want to serve? Right? Think about that. Heroic steps. You know, sometimes our steps are too big. Imagine trying to climb a ladder that had 6 feet between each rung. Man, you got to be a gymnast to climb that ladder. But if you separate them by 6 inches, anybody from 8 to 80 can climb. Make it simple. Make it simple, right? And another problem that causes systems to fail is not having an owner. Not having somebody who owns the system. And so what you need to do is you need to make sure somebody owns it. And I'm going to say to the senior leaders, make sure that person is not you. Make sure that person is not you. You don't need to be the person who owns it. Give it to somebody else, right? Turn that thing around, okay? All right, I'm going to close out here because I'm way over time for where I wanted to be. And so we're going to build a system live, all right? So let me swap my screen here. And because the the cameras that I wanted didn't work quite the way I wanted, y'all won't be able to see my guests who are sitting over here. But y'all will. I am going to set it to where y'all can see the screen and y'all can just be able to see it, right? So let me stop sharing real quick so I can share something else. All right, so we are going to build a system live. I think it's going to be live. We're thinking about doing this for a while, and I have this does feel like a version of a hot seat. Now the hot seat is hot, so you'll know we're doing a hot seat. But I understand the sense. All right, so all right, so let me put this on screen so you can see. All right. So we are going to work on building a system live. So let's talk first about what system what we're going to rebuild today. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to relay back to the people the system that we're building. As a matter of fact, you can grab your microphone and they'll be able to hear you. All that good stuff. Okay, so grab the microphone. There's a button on the back until you see the green light come on. Okay, hold on a second. This is Canva. This is Canva. All right, you good to go now?
I think so. I'm just going.
All right, let's test it. Testing, testing, testing the audio. Testing the audio.
Testing.
Okay, I think you're good. I
Okay.
can see you. All right. So let's talk about this. Tell me, what system in your church do you want to see fixed and repaired?
I want to see the new members system. And I don't know if the way you described the guest relations appears to go right into new membership, but I want to see the new members assimilation.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna build a new member system. All right. So break down for me a little bit the goal that you want to come out of this system. What do you want to see happen as a result?
I want the new members to know what to expect when they first join,
Okay.
and know where they're going to land.
Okay. So you want them to know. Say that one more time.
I want them to know what to expect when they first join.
Okay. When you say you want new members to know what to expect, like break that down even more.
So the next steps, we put
Okay.
together a template that says next steps. So once they join the ministry, knowing what the next steps are, and being able to have a view of where they go from here.
So you want new people to know what to do next
Or what to expect next.
and what to expect. All right. That star is a little ugly, but y'all get the point. All right. All right. And I'm just using this tool so we can visualize this. There's, of course, much easier ways that I could probably do this. But I want to do it this way so that we can visualize kind of the process. I want you to be able to see it on paper. All right. So new members know what to do next. All right. So what's the current entry point? How do you currently get people in? What's the current lead in? What do people do right now to get plugged into this process?
Our altar call. We
Okay.
extend the invitation at the altar for anyone that wants to join the ministry, become a part of the fellowship.
So you have an altar call. Okay. What else is it? Like I know you're extending an invitation,
Mhm.
but how do you collect information?
Through our Connect cards. So as soon as they come, they fill out on the kiosk. They'll fill out our Connect card right on the system. It goes into a system called Church Track.
Okay, so let's break that down. If somebody comes to the altar, do you
Mhm.
give them the card on the altar?
Now, when they hit the door, from the moment that they come, whether they've been visiting for a while or whether they're the first time visitor, the first thing they do is they fill out a guest relations card or a Connect card, and they
Okay.
do it through the kiosk.
So what if I come to visit and I don't fill out a card at the door? Then what?
Then we'll take their information when they come to the altar. We'll take them in the back and get them to complete the Connect card. But
Okay.
even after they've accepted membership, we
Hmm.
fill out a membership form that
Okay.
expands the Connect card. So if they're already in our system because they were a prior guest, then we'll just expand that into new membership and we'll change them from a visitor to a new member.
Okay. Got you. Okay. So I come in, I extend an invitation, I complete a connection card,
Hmm.
and that's going to start the process of you all contacting me and so on and so on.
Yes, it
All
is.
right. Got you. All right. So far so good. What's the next step?
Once they've come, they've received Christ and they've accepted the invitation, said they want to become a part of the church. I have one person assigned to take them in the back
Okay.
or to our conference room. And that's where they're to give them a packet with next steps.
What's in that packet?
A welcome letter. We have a, a double, a bifold folder that has all of our ministries listed
Okay.
and a little excerpt of the ministries that are in it. Also tells them times of our services and things like that. It's like a whole formatted bifold pre-printed packet that we give them.
Okay.
And that has a lot of information in it. The welcome letter from Deacon Dennis and I, and then also it's a color form that says next step. So this says next step, one-on-one with the pastor, um, new members orientation
Okay.
to be scheduled, and we haven't been consistent with that because the
Okay.
membership has been sporadic. New members orientation, and then I think the next one I'd have to bring it
When you
back
say
up.
you haven't been consistent with which part?
The new member orientation.
Okay,
We'll wait
gotcha.
until we have a group of people that have joined. So right
Okay,
now we're scheduling one for November the 8th.
gotcha. Okay,
Mhm.
so after people receive the next steps packet, the next thing you want to get them to is the orientation.
Next thing we want to get them to a welcome conversation to
Okay.
introduce them and they get the info. Yes, you're right. They get the packet, they get the
Okay.
information. Next step is to get them to an orientation. But most times the one-on-one with me takes place before the orientation.
Okay. So there are two steps that happen next. Okay,
Yes.
and they're kind of simultaneous. So you've got two different things happening, kind of as offshoots to this. All right. So let's map that out. So you've got one-on-one convo with pastor,
Hmm.
and then you've got one thing first, because here's what I see. One is you need to put a rhythm to that orientation.
Okay.
Set it and forget it,
Okay.
right?
Hmm.
Because you can adjust easily
Hmm.
to we gonna do a class, we're not gonna do a class, we're gonna do a class, we're not do a class. But when something doesn't have a rhythm, it lowers your volunteer base. Because volunteers, you know, Pastor Tilton was talking earlier about the DIS test,
Hmm.
and he shared about being a high D and a high C, and that was me.
Hmm.
Like I was the same way, right? And like my I, which is the DIS test personality test, D dominant, I inspirational,
Hmm.
S is stable, C is if you would. And 70% of people in the world are type S,
Mhm.
meaning they crave stability and predictability.
Okay.
They get uncomfortable when things change.
Change. Okay.
They do not like change, which is why they fight against it so much. And so 70% of people are like, look, just leave it like it is. Just leave it alone.
Mhm.
Don't mess with it. Just let it sit now. Come on now. Stop playing. Leave it. That's 70% of people. Okay. And so one of the things that you can do, and this works in your favor really well, is try to have stability to your schedule.
Orange.
And so just go ahead and decide. We're going to do this class. What days do y'all normally do it on when y'all do it?
Saturdays. So the new member orientation is Saturdays from like 10 to 12:30.
Okay. So we're going to do this the Saturday before the first Sunday
Okay. Mhm.
every month. Saturday before the first Sunday. If nobody registers, guess what? We don't have to have it. But my volunteers can keep it on the calendar.
Mhm.
So every month, we know this window needs to be reserved for that. Because what'll happen is if you don't have it a couple of times, when you're ready to have it, you come back to your team and they schedule got something else in it.
Right. Right.
Right. And now all of a sudden they're not available. And it's like, well, I got to go back and tell the people we can't do it this week. And now it's just a whole thing. And so just go ahead and put a rhythm to it. Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. What I would say is I would, until we get to a point where we have, I would do it with the one person.
Okay.
I might do it differently.
Mhm.
I wouldn't try to do a big old presentation.
Right. Right.
But if it's that one person,
Right.
like, hey, let's just, instead of going to the church and doing this,
Mhm.
what do you like to eat?
Mhm.
Let's go to whatever. But
Okay.
I would still do it because here's why. You might lose that one waiting on two.
Mhm. That's true.
And the longer time period you let go through before you consolidate that person,
Mhm.
the less likely they are to follow through. So you need to get them as soon as possible. So if it's one, go do one.
Mhm.
And I would even argue if you got a team,
Mhm.
let them do the full shebang with one person. Set that example in that culture with your team. Because I know one thing: if it's Sunday and it's time to preach, if you walk in that sanctuary and there's one person in there,
Go.
internally you might be disappointed, but you better preach.
Mhm.
You better preach like it's a full house.
Mhm.
Because some would argue if you won't preach to one, you don't deserve 100.
Right. That's true.
So the same thing with discipleship. You go in there and you disciple that one person. You take care of that one person. You do what you got to do with that one person. You do it. And then also it's an opportunity for your team to get better at it.
Mhm.
It's an opportunity for everybody involved to get better at it, right? And so make sure you have that. The second thing with this one-on-one convo, how often do you try to do that?
I do that with every new member. And so here's my form that I give them. It's like, what's next? And then it says the first thing tells them it's a one on one introduction with the pastor, covenant connection, new members orientation, discipleship class, new beginning course. And then join our church track, join our band, and then just tell them our weekly services.
Is the orientation and the welcome, are those two different things you just listed?
The one on one is a pastor introduction. Did you say
You said one-on-one. After that, you said new members
the
orientation.
covenant connection, which is our new members orientation?
Okay, that's the name of the new members class. Okay, got you.
Covenant connection.
So with that one-on-one, walk me through that, how that happens. So I just joined church Sunday. What happens
Yep.
next?
So I'll have someone call them and see when they're available. If they
Okay,
available during the day, most of the time that works for me. And
okay,
I'll set up a one-on-one. And most of the time it's at my office.
okay.
And me personally, what can I do for you as a pastor? Where did you come from?
Yeah.
You know, who was you under? What did you do? Things like that. And so we have that interaction where I get to know them more spiritually on several their personal, spiritual, and what they're looking for at it in the church.
Okay.
I used to, and at times I will use. I have a form that has a lot of questions that I ask. Mhm.
So you're gonna have that conversation. Love that.
And I do that before the orientation. That the one-on-one normally comes within a week of them
So does this
joining
normally happen the same week they join?
the one-on-one
Yeah.
if their schedule permits.
Okay.
Within 2
So
weeks, I like to try and get it
one
scheduled.
quick thing that I see
hmm
that I think could be beneficial with you for you is what we call the coffee with me strategy,
Okay.
which is, and it doesn't have to be coffee, that's just what we call it. So
Right.
you can do it the way you're doing it in your office.
hmm
But it is to have that conversation while they're there.
On Sunday morning
Yeah.
at church.
So if you got no, not the conversation. I'm talking about schedule it, I mean. Sorry.
Oh, schedule it.
Yeah. So don't have the one-on-one there, but
Okay.
while they're in the room, say,
Uh-huh.
hey, look, I'd love to sit down with you one-on-one this week. What
Okay.
does your schedule look like?
Okay.
And see if you can close that gap.
Okay.
And if you can get them to
That's a good
commit
thought. Okay.
while they're right there on site.
Mhm.
When they're in the back, the person that went back when is not there.
Okay. So that's happening after service, right? So you're
Yeah.
still greeting people and stuff like that, or
I am.
Okay.
And I'm doing more of that now. But we just talked about that with regards to the reception of it.
yeah,
Because oftentimes, well, we moved our altar call. Our altar call might be spontaneous.
yeah,
And so if the Lord moves and we do the altar call and they accept then it might be before I preach, somebody's immediately taking them in the back. But to your point, they could set it up too. They
Yeah.
could say, hey, Pastor would like to, this is our next step. Do you have any availability this week? And start getting a couple dates for me as well.
absolutely. I mean, anybody can grab that information, however you do it.
Yeah.
The main thing is, since you got them there, why let them leave?
That's true.
That's one of the things I would do when I was pastoring that 40-member church.
Mhm.
I brought one of our elders up to close our service. I went and stood by the door.
Mhm.
If a new person was there, I shook their hand.
Yeah.
And for a whole season, Toya would tell you, if a family came in, because it was like one family at a time and stuff like that in the early days, I would say, hey man, what y'all finna eat? I don't know. We don't have nothing planned. Well, look, we going to Buffalo Wild Wings. Y'all want to come?
Mhm.
And we literally right
Take-
then
take them
come
out.
sit down and eat.
Yeah.
And we sit at that table and
Mhm.
talk.
It's funny how
Uh-huh.
how we
You were talking about last night. I didn't pull the document up, but I was thinking, yeah, we do that.
so what I have is my assistant that my schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Someone comes to join the church, they can take them to the back of the conference, goes back there as well.
Okay.
And schedules a meeting right
Okay.
there.
Okay. Okay.
She has my
Right.
schedule. One of the other things that you could consider if your dynamic is a little different is already having some predetermined days where it be okay, Saturday mornings at
Now that's a
This
really
time
good
this
idea.
time. That's good.
so your folks will automatically know, okay, well, the pastor's available to meet usually
That's a really good idea.
Right.
An alternate date,
Gotcha.
so they can already have that's just something that
Yeah, because Tuesday and Thursdays become my better days to meet during the day, so that's good.
That's so good. All right, are y'all catching this in the chat? Let me know if y'all are grabbing this. If y'all are hearing this, y'all are seeing us walk through this process. Let me know if y'all are hearing that. All right. But that's a really good idea.
Mhm.
The person who already has your calendar with those, I love that idea of predetermined days.
Right.
That's one of the things that I've moved my schedule to.
Mhm.
Yeah, y'all can go ahead and eat. You can start moving food, all that kind of stuff like that. Predetermined days, I love that idea
Okay.
of saying, hey, look, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays,
I think that'll.
here are the
that's
hours I
really
have
good.
available.
That's really good.
Yeah, sure.
I have so I'm noticing the flow of things. Our dynamics may be like different. Not quite. My volume is quite not that big just yet. So how many of those steps at minimum? So connect card, at minimum, what can be done at minimum just to capture that data?
Yeah.
send that on, at minimum is to, you may not have the space to take it to the bank. You may not have, everything has to kind of happen
Within the space.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's what you could do at minimum, and this is something I did when we were transitioning, is that number one, you got to have the mechanism to collect the info. And so you can do a lot of that pre-service, right? So I would put connect cards in every seat. Oh, let me pause for a second. Let me give y'all a hack.
Mhm.
And people don't do this anymore, but I think you should. I think it's valuable. put connect cards and offering envelopes in every single chair. Every chair. Like, because you're setting this standard that these are two things we want to see everybody participate in. Right? So that's one thing. But have the cards already in the chairs, and do the altar call. And in the altar call, I would sit there and talk to people right then. Now, we would do our altar call at the end.
Mhm.
And so when I would do an altar call, I bring that person to the front and I would say, hey, look, come stand by me. And I would literally hold their hand, put my arm around them while I closed out service.
Mhm.
So I don't need to take them to the back. I got them right here at the front.
Mhm.
And I started doing that because whenever I ended a service, my regulars would bombard me.
Yes, it. That's why I go in the back.
They would
Mhm.
bombard the altar, and so I couldn't get to the people.
Right.
And so I just started bringing them to me. And I said, no, y'all stand right here. And thank you, Lord, in Jesus' name, amen. God bless y'all. And I turn around to them. I say, hey, look, pull out your phone real quick.
Mhm.
Oh, it's in my seat. Go grab it real quick. Grab your phone. All right, look, I'm finna text you. Here go my number. Like, you can do things more organically until you see some expansion. You, again, simplify. You don't need it to be complicated. You don't need it to be extra. You don't need it to be any of those things. Like, make it as simple as you want it to be. But also just make sure that you build it according to what you can do. So the minimum level, you got to collect data. You get patient. People go to the conference room. Simultaneously, we've got the convo with the pastor and the new members orientation.
Mhm. You can probably switch them, but it's because it's always going to be. But it doesn't matter.
Okay,
You know.
so you got those two things happening.
Mhm.
All right. After I have a conversation with the pastor, I come to new members class. What's
Yeah,
next?
so that's where we become
That's where things get a little
inconsistent.
weird. Okay.
Like, we just graduated a class of 8 people through our discipleship class.
Oh, nice.
But
Y'all crushing it.
yeah, but we haven't had it's only like once a year. It's not consistent. And so what I really want to do is I want to reduce our discipleship class down to hitting more of the main points, because it's like a 3-month course. But I want to, because I'm finding that people don't make the commitment, and then I don't get them discipled or assimilated into becoming volunteers and becoming really a part. And if they don't get rooted and established, many people just kind of either just sit there or wander away
You
after
kind
a
of wander
while.
away.
You know.
You know, I love that. I talked to talking to Bishop
Mhm.
Evans.
Uh-huh.
He told me that he does an 18-week new members class,
18-week new members class, and
and
it's
he
packed
teaches it every
every
single
Monday.
week.
Mhm.
Every week.
Yep.
Now, mind you, this fella got 27,000
Mhm.
people. He had thousands of people.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I teach that class in person every week. And so I think here's a decision I think we all have to make, is that, you know, in business, we call it friction. The lower the friction, the more people are going to engage. The higher the friction, the higher quality of the people engaged.
Mhm. Mhm.
So if low friction would be, hey, if you want this new ebook, here you go, you can grab it. All you got to do is put your email address in. You don't have to tell me your name or your phone number. Just give me your email address. Most people will get out of the way because I'll send you the spam anyway.
Mhm.
And so if you do it right there, or if you do it on Facebook, Facebook then already filled in your email address. So all you got to do is just say yes to Facebook, low friction. When I was running ads, low friction, I would get, let's say I got 100 people in a week to fill out my form. 90 of them weren't a great fit. 90 of them were not a great fit. But then if I go high friction, where you click the button, it takes you to my website. You got to watch all that. You got to put in your name, your phone number, your email address, watch this video, and then book a call with me. If I don't go that way, I may only get 5 people to fill it out that week. But those 5 people are the right people. Want me to tell you how I know? That's how Pastor Rush got here. I changed it from low friction, high volume because I wanted a bunch of people. And I realized, no, in this season, like there's a season where you got to go for volume. because you're just trying to get it going. But I shifted very quickly. And when I shifted, that's when we started to see more pointed. And that's where we live now.
Mhm.
Is that we see now it's more pointed. You got to work.
Mhm.
It ain't going to be easy. It's not just, oh, here it is for nothing. And so that's one of the things that you got to wrestle through. So here's what I like to do.
Mhm.
I like to suggest a 4-session class
Mhm.
that happens in one day.
Oh, in one day? Okay.
That's the way we do it. A 4-session class that
In
happens
one
in
day?
one day.
Okay.
Do it multiple sessions, like just,
Mm-hmm.
it's just more valuable
Right.
time.
Mhm.
Times we're in, I consolidated, I think I do it in 4 hours, 3 hours. I was gonna say how long. I think it's 2 hours, and I think I condensed mine to like a
3
3 hour
hours?
Saturday.
Okay.
Yep.
And we feed them there as well.
So is things and
Yeah.
I have a whole template that we kind of run through.
You
Give
have
them
to
a tour
condense
of
it
the church.
down for sure.
Say it again.
You have to condense it down.
Condense it. So do 2, do the new members orientation, and then schedule them for the class.
No, I would say, well, yes and no. I think the class could definitely be something separate than the
Okay.
new members orientation.
Mhm.
Think of the new members orientation like high school is freshman, sophomore, junior, senior.
Mhm.
I'm not going to give you everything in 1 year.
Right. Right.
So, what's the freshman level stuff?
Mhm.
What is the basic stuff you need to know to get rolling?
Okay.
Because those people need different things.
Mhm.
Some of them are coming from another church where they walk with the Lord. Some of them don't know nothing.
Right.
And so trying to give them all the same thing is going to be difficult, right? And so what I find most helpful is focus on setting foundations. So here are the 4 things I recommend covered in those classes. Session 1 is salvation
Mhm.
and the history of the church. So just let them know the basics of when we started, who started it, why we started it, how we got here. Right? And with salvation, you're basically saying, how does God see me? You're answering that question.
Mhm.
What does God think about me? These are 3 things that God expects of you. Your time, your talent, and to be your treasure, so that you can help us go meet other people just to reach you.
Mhm.
Step 3 is spiritual gifts. How did God make you and wire you? I'm going to show you what the gifts are. I'm going to show you how those gifts fit into the framework of our church. If you're in a church here, that is a ministry. If you're a craftsman, there's an area we need craftsmen. If you're a hospitality, the area we need hospitality. Set for spiritual.
Okay.
Teach them how to do a daily devotion time with the Lord. Have the conversation, show them how to walk with the Lord. Go for some form of the 4 things with us. The church I'm currently on staff, I was a little different because before Jesus vision, we to know people, give people, so guide people, know people, give people, and notify people. Those are for Jesus. We our numerous class around that. But guess what? I'm gonna be for GP. That will make our framework customize it for you. But you can understand exactly what you need.
Okay. And then the other one, I'm listening to you. I'm looking at new member orientation. I think it covers a lot of that. But
Just simplify.
it goes to salvation. We talk about exciting we hit tips, and but we don't spend as much time with our spiritual walk or volunteerism. The new member class, the discipleship class goes into it goes a lot more deeper into
Okay.
some of the doctrines and things like that. That's one that's a lot longer. You know, I was just thinking about what you're saying during the new orientation. And some of the things that include
Yes. That's how, if you want to get something good, Get that in. With the whole team. Yeah, everybody does it. Can y'all hear me a little bit better now? Let me know if you can hear me better. I'll switch my microphone to something a little bit more simple. Let me know if you can hear me. Yep. Yeah. If you can do it in 3 hours, then by all means, go for it. But I think, again, you want to keep in mind the goal. Keep in mind what the goal is. And also, let me go back to something else. So here's another reason that this process is so important in the way that we laid it out. The reason you need to do a session on spiritual gifts is because as a part of that orientation, you want them to commit to a ministry before they leave. So you want to introduce them to ministry. Like that's one of your next steps that you want to push them into. So you want them to leave with activation and not just information.
So, in this reality, that's not like discipleship.
No.
Okay, so you're looking at something different.
Yes. Discipleship is a process. Discipleship is a process. This is orientation. Orientation is. Yeah, go ahead.
We'll sit down with them and just, our goal is to connect with them, to validate their decision for becoming a part of church, let them know a little bit about us, find out a little bit about them and their church background, history, stuff like that. We really want to just sort of do this, but we also set some expectations, sort of preliminary stuff that we'll do. So we'll just sort of bring them in and just sort of love on them, let them know sort of what they got themselves into, what they expect. And then we let them know they're going to be scheduled for the new members. We call it the class. And that's the 3-hour Saturday thing that we have with them. And we go into the history of the church. We also do like a little handbook, and we'll have that in a whole kit for them when they come there. And so, and they also can take that with them afterwards. So we'll go through the history of the church, what we believe, like different things like that.
So it's pretty much the same thing we're doing that. Because we kind of do the one-on-one and then we do the new member orientation and it does have those pieces in it. I think what I was thinking was after that is trying to get them disciple.
That's a whole nother.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Discipleship is a separate process. So you don't need to do everything at once. You want to frame that out because that's going to take you into thinking through what's the discipleship mechanism of your church. Like, what's your discipleship mechanism? Is it a Bible study? Is it small groups? Is it the ministry model? Right? Where in your church do they get that discipleship? Because you want that to be an ongoing thing that they're engaged in. But then discipleship is also multifaceted. Serving is discipleship. Giving is discipleship. Attending worship is discipleship. Learning and reading and studying the Bible is discipleship. All of those things are discipleship. You just got to figure out where they fit.
And that's, I think, where the part is where I need to try to visit. But the length of the one that I have, I think is small.
Yeah.
And I don't put the commitment. But I do think that they need to be able to get completely involved in discipleship to keep them.
Yeah, just simplify it. One of the things that I did, because at one point I did want to do 4 sessions to get that commitment out of people. And so what we did for a season is that we did 4 live in-person sessions, but we did them before church. And so church was at 10. We had people show up at 8:30. We fed them a light breakfast, and we did 45 minutes before service, almost like a Sunday school model. And we said, all right, this is how we're going to do it. And so we did it that way. And that made it really simple and easy for people to engage, right? But one of the things that I would put here is getting people into ministry. or small groups, or whatever your discipleship model is. Like that's one of the outcomes you want to happen next. People take the next step and say, hey, look, I want to plug in to be a part of this particular thing. Right? I think that's a very valuable piece. Oh, I did not mean to do that. All right. So let's review for a second. So our goal, new members know what to do next, and I think we need to define that just a little bit more. I want to say every new member takes a next step or something like that. Like, because we really want to clarify that what we want is people moving from sitting to serving.
Yes.
All right, so maybe that's a good mission right there. That's a phrase that we use at our church. A lot of our pastors use that. Every new person goes from sitting to serving. All right, so that's the new goal, is to get people from sitting to serving. And the way we get them there is we extend an invitation, which means that when we do our session on the culture guide coming up here soon, this week, and we start talking about putting together your culture guide, and we talk about that, a part of your culture guide is, I don't care what happens, extend that invitation.
Yeah.
I don't care who preaching. I don't care what they doing. Extend that invitation. It's got to be done every single week, because that's the trigger that starts the process. All right.
And even if you don't see new people come in.
Yes. Even if you know everybody in the room, every Sunday, extend that invitation. 2 reasons. Reason number 1 is you need to set the culture that this is important, and you can't look at people and make an assumption. Even the Sunday I was there, when we did the altar call, it was people who were committed parts of the church.
One of the things I found out too is extending an altar call is not always just for new people, but sometimes based on your message, you may be having a call to action for people who are already a part of the church that you can do during that altar call period.
Yeah.
People already do.
I always extend an altar call. I'm saying
No, I'm
the
saying
invitation to join the church.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying
Okay.
the invitation.
Okay.
Everything.
When some people call an altar call, is everybody comes up, and then some people call the altar call, the people come to discipleship.
Got you.
But I'm saying, anytime the service, you preach the sermon, extend an invitation. The invitation may be to Christian discipleship. It may be to an action that the message has said that you're not doing.
You need to take. Yeah. So here's what I would say for the invitation. I think I love the way that our pastor does it at our church. There's 4 invitations. We do 4 invitations every time we open it, every time we end the service. Invitation number 1 is to salvation. We clarify, if you've never said yes to Jesus, this invitation is for you. That's new people. That's people who never said yes. Number 2 is rededication. Somewhere along the way you said yes, but right now the Holy Spirit is reminding you that you have drifted. This is you renewing your vows. Our pastor always tell the story of when he was in high school and he stayed out past curfew. His mama would call him and say, "Come home now." He said, right now, after you're hearing this message, the Holy Spirit is saying to you, God is saying to you, come home now. You hear him calling you. If you want to rededicate, this call is for you. Number 3 is water baptism. If you want to be baptized. And we separate salvation and baptism because we give the caveat that maybe you got baptized before and you didn't mean it. Maybe you got baptized before and you didn't know what it meant. Either of those 2 things. If you're in a space in your life where now we say baptism is the wedding ring of Christianity, this wedding ring symbolizes that I belong to LaToya Tolman. Baptism symbolizes I belong to Jesus Christ. If you wanted to go public with your faith, and I break it down and I say, in our baptism, we get to connect with the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. When I decide to be baptized, it is the death of my old life. When I step into the water, it's the death of my old life. When I'm taken down in the water, it is a burial of my old life. When I come out of the water with the water cascading down my face, all the residue of my old life goes with it. It is symbolic of my resurrection in Jesus Christ. If you're ready to experience new life in Christ, baptism. Number 4, you need a church. The way I say it is this: you're playing a team sport by yourself. Faith was never meant to be done alone. And the reason that the enemy keeps getting victory in some areas of your life is because you fighting 1-on-5. And you need a church. And the way our pastor would say it, if you need a church and a pastor. Who's going to do your eulogy if you die today? Who's doing your eulogy? Is your family scrambling, trying to find a church and figure out who going to be able to stand up there and say some words on your behalf? Your marriage gets in trouble. Who do you trust enough to spiritually cover you? Whatever it is, you need a church and you need a pastor. If you've been on the search, and while you standing in this room, the Lord is saying to you that you have found your home, we're making an invitation. And so we give those 4 invitations every Sunday. And the second reason that you give those invitations is that you're teaching your people how to have that conversation. Every time you explain one of those things, you're teaching your people apologetics. You're teaching them how to biblically support those 4 conversations. So if they come up in their workplace, if they come up at home with their kids, wherever those issues arise, your people are equipped to step in and have that conversation. All right. So I encourage you to have them. All right. So extend an invitation. After you extend an invitation, then the next thing you want to do.
We'll put in there 4 points.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to definitely teach for this.
Absolutely.
I like that deal that you said you can take the time to explain each one. Instead of,
Yep.
I've seen a lot of practice go right through them.
Yep. Listen, as a part of our culture,
Salvation, if you do this and they don't explain.
yep, I cringe every time I see that.
Yeah, and they blow right through all of them, and the people are sitting there wondering.
Tilton, in our Baptist culture, we just say the doors of the church are open.
Oh,
And I got away from saying that. I haven't said that in 30 years.
Look, I'm gonna tell you what's funny. One day, pastor said, the doors of the church are open. I saw somebody do this. They looked back at the doors like, why the doors open? What's going on? And so you wanna be cognizant of what you say and how you say it. All right. So we're gonna extend those 4 invitations. After we extend those 4 invitations, then we're going to take people back and help consolidate. Here's another thing we do, and I'll just give this as a tidbit. When we take people in that room, our team, we train them to converse and pray with people based on their decision. If somebody made a decision for salvation, we've got a minister back there who takes a minute to explain salvation. So I just want to make sure you understand, when we talk about salvation, here's what we mean. I know Pastor explained it, but I want to see if you got any questions. Like, we take a moment to explain it. If they say baptism, we say, okay, great. We baptize on the first Sunday every month. That's our water Sunday. So somebody's going to call you from the church. They're going to tell you what to wear. They're going to tell you what to bring. But you'll basically just come to church a little bit early on that Sunday. We'll give you a t-shirt to wear. And you want to invite all your family and friends. We're going to baptize you. You'll change clothes and then you'll come back out. We'll have your seat saved. Right? So everybody knows how to describe what's happening on that team. All right. So they come in, taking them to the conference room. They get the new members packets, next steps. After that, they've got 2 things that happen simultaneously. They're side by side. One-on-one pastor with the convo, or one-on-one convo with the pastor. And the new members orientation is also what we're trying to get them to next. And then what I'm suggesting as the goal, and this is the big, when this happens, man, we crushed it. We did what God called us to do. And that is new people sign up for a ministry or get into a small group or whatever discipleship.
So that's something that you suggest that they do before they go through discipleship? Because you always have been taught they shouldn't serve until they first been through 4 sessions discipleship.
Absolutely. I believe your orientation should be enough to help them go through.
Okay.
All right, think about it. I know we're not Jesus, but what did Jesus require from the disciples before they started walking with him? He said, follow me and I'll make you. Just like we talked about this morning. And I'm telling you, in the culture we live in, you're going to have some people who are willing to serve with you before they join your church. And serving is going to be their front door to joining the church. It's going to be their front. They're going to see your heart from it because they're coming from an ethos where they like, man, I'm tired of all these churches who all they want to do is have church and they want everybody to come in the 4 walls and all you can be is an usher and all you can be this. And they see you talking about, hey, y'all, we going out to do a clothing drive. We're going to be feeding it's getting cold. We giving coats to the homeless. They're going to see that and say, man, you know what? Now that's a vision I can be a part of. And the first time you ever see them, it's going to be like, man, I want to come help with this. Matter of fact, I'll give you a real example. I went to Houston, Texas to work with Dr. DZ Cofield. They've got a really strong ministry out in Houston. And we were talking about this, and I was teaching this exact concept. And I said, take a moment, think for a second. Is there somebody who, even as I'm talking about this, you already know this is how they got here? They said, yeah, it's a young man who started showing up for the food drive. And he just came and was like, I just want to help. And he just said, what can I do? He put on a vest. He helps us pass out food. And somebody told me he joined a small group now. He served on the food program for a couple of months or whatever it was, if I remember correctly. And then all of a sudden, he joined a small group, and now he's a part of the church.
We just had a gentleman just do that.
Serving is going to be the front door.
And just recently joined the church.
It's going to be a front door for some people. And so you got to embrace that.
Okay.
And so absolutely, you want to get them into that new member orientation. And with that new member orientation, you want to get them into a ministry. I've got something I'll add to the library. There's a document that we built. I'll put it in the GPT, but it's called How Gifts Fit. And basically what it does is once you know somebody's gifts, it will basically, that document says, these gifts fit in this ministry. These gifts fit here. These gifts fit here. And it takes the responses, because that's another thing we do in that new members orientation in that spiritual gifts class. We teach through the spiritual gifts, but we also give them an assessment. So let them take an assessment where they can discover their top gifts. I'm going to tell you another hack. Make sure you document that top gift in your church management software. Attach it to their profile. Because when you start looking for a specific role, you can go in that database, search by gift. It'll show you everybody who got that gift. Man, I need an administrator. You go in there and search the gift of administration, and the system will show you everybody who got the gift of administration. Listen to me. Game changer. Changes everything, all right? So get them in that new members orientation, and then the goal is to get them to sign up for a small group, Bible study, ministry team, whatever you have. So let's have this conversation and we'll close out. That takes us back to the next thing that you were mentioning, discipleship. Now, again, because what we talk about, what you don't want to do is overload the system. So now I got to figure out what's our discipleship system. How do we make disciples? Here's a question I often ask. If God sends you somebody who has the ability and the gift and the calling from God to be a pastor, how would you prepare them in 3 years? If God says, I'm giving them to you for 3 years, I need you to prepare them to go and pastor a church in 3 years. How do you do that? What's your mechanism? Now, there may not be a whole lot of people coming to you to be a pastor, right? But what I'm asking you is, are you able to be trusted with that caliber of person? How do you do it? Because I'm telling here's what I'm gonna tell you. Sunday is not enough. Sunday is not enough. Right now, granted, y'all, one of the things that y'all will have, I'm going to give y'all the GPT tomorrow from the Leadership Institute that we did with that builds out the whole leadership curriculum for you. I'm going to give you that GPT. And with that GPT, you'll be able to build out something for those people who are willing, right? And I want to say this too. Don't be uncomfortable with numbers getting smaller the more intense things become. All right? So what I mean by that is the number of people who attend church. Well, let's start at the top. The number of people who attend an outreach project, 5,000, not counting the women and children. The number of people who show up on Sunday, 500 who met Jesus in the upper room post-resurrection. The number of people who actually volunteer and serve, 72 that he sent out 2 by 2. The number of people who come to the level of leadership where we do life together, and we're making this faith thing not just a part of church but a part of our life, 12. The number of people who are in Jesus's inner circle, who he can take to the deeply spiritual things, the mountain of transfiguration. Let's go raise up this dead girl. I'm over here in the Garden of Gethsemane going through anguish, sweating as drops of blood, 3. I'm going through the worst ordeal of my life. I'm laying my life on the line to pay for the sins of the world. I'm going from judgment hall to judgment hall. Crown of thorns, pierced in my side, nails in my hands, nails in my feet, cat of nine tails. Own mother can't recognize me. How many standing at the foot of the cross? 1. Don't be discouraged when the numbers get smaller, because a lot of times those smaller numbers are where the real transformation is going to happen. And you got to be okay with that. We were talking about this, Pastor Paula, not too long ago when you first came into the program. And you said, look, I got 2 MITs, 2 ministers in training. I was like, oh, that's more than enough to do what we got to do. There's another pastor, they just joined our program yesterday. Literally, while I was sitting upstairs yesterday, they joined the program. He said, man, I think I got 5 committed people. I said, oh, let's rock. Let's go. Because the number, the context of the number changes the expectation of it. 5, if let's say Jesus had 3. If he was doing the biggest fish fry in the world and he only had 3 people there, it would feel different. We would look at, you had 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread and he fed 3 people. That wouldn't be a miracle. That's like, oh, okay, cool. Like that's good. That was enough to do what you did. But because it was the 5,000, it was like, okay, that's different. But if we said Jesus had 5,000 people in his inner circle, not including women and children, we'd be like, how? I can't replicate that. And so what I'm saying is, don't let the smaller numbers discourage you, because in many cases, those smaller numbers are healthier. I'm going to tell you this, and then I'm going to close out. And if you're watching online and you have a question, go ahead and drop that question in real quick so I can catch it. And then if I can answer it, I'll answer it before I get a close out. But I'm going to tell you one of the things you got to get ready for. If you are a pastor at heart and you have a pastor's heart, growth is going to have some side effects that you got to get your heart ready for. I'll never forget the day our church grew to a point where I couldn't know everybody personally. I had so much guilt around it. I was like, man, how you a pastor and you got people serving on the door, you don't even know their names? Like I feel emotional even just sitting here thinking about it. I feel it welling up in me because I prided myself, man, I'm not going to be like these mega church pastors. They got all these folks. They don't even know these folks. Folks can't call them. I'm going to always be touchable by my people. I'm going to always be reachable. And the reality is the average human has the capacity for 20 fruitful relationships at a time. 20. Even when you expand to cordial relationships, that number goes to 100. Once you get past 100 people, now you start getting to a place where you can't know everybody intimately. And for us, We were building systems. And the very systems that we built to take the weight off of me, I grieved them because they didn't need me. Listen to me. I had this conversation with a pastor of a growing church. And we were planning some stuff. We were walking through some stuff. I said, hey, look, let's pause for a second. I said, I need you to look me in my eye when I say this. I said, I want to tell you something that most people don't know. Because your church is growing, you're moving forward, everything's, I'm going to tell you a secret. And I looked him in the eye and I said, this is where most people turn back. This is where most pastors who could break through that ceiling and go to that mega church level, this is where they turn back. When they get to the point where the church doesn't need them and their value is found in busyness and being able to say that every good thing that comes out of the church came from them, I said, this is where most of them turn back. Because when you hit that point where you're doing things and it's not you and your genius that's doing it, it's going to be a real heart check. When you walk in a room one day and realize that half of the people that's in there are not in there because of you. They in there because of somebody you empowered. They in there because of somebody that you let them go and you let them run and you let them do what they were called to do. It's going to be a real heart check because you're going to sit there at the leader and be sitting there and it's a weird feeling. One of the reasons I love the church where I'm at is, and y'all saw this last night, we watched the Leadership Institute. He in there dropping bombs in this amazing teaching. In the middle of the teaching, he said, man, Tobert, if you watching, these are some amazing notes. Most guys wouldn't do that. They don't want anybody else getting credit. So even if you did do it, they're going to take it and they're going to take credit for it. And literally, one of the things that I so love is that every time I preach, there are people who come and say, man, look, I love my pastor. But listen, if he got to lead you to preach, I ain't going to ever be mad. I sure love how you break it out. I love how you do it. And sometimes he will call me and say, man, folks been texting me all day. Talk about, man, that old Tobert, man, who is that black dude you got preach Sunday? You know, because you know people how people be. And he will call and tell me. And I flat out asked him one day, I said, does that bother you? He said, no, man. He said, I prayed for years. I couldn't miss a Sunday. Because if I missed a Sunday, people weren't coming because they didn't enjoy the quality of what I left behind sometimes. And so all I'm saying is growth comes with a burden too. It comes with a burden too that you have to prepare for. It comes with that and you have to be ready for it. All right. So listen, I want to close this out. All right. So listen, we went through the flow. Flow, really simple. All right. Flow. Focus on the goal. What's the focus? What's the outcome we want? What's the lead in? How do people get into the system? The outcomes. All right. What's the order of operations? Rather, what order do we want things to go in? How do we want them to do it? Who or what is responsible? All right. We're going to do a session, I think on Friday, where I'm going to show you how to build an AI staff, because there are some parts of your systems that a technology can be responsible for, right? That a technology can be responsible for doing. You can set it up to where we give you what we used to, for those of you who came into the program in the past, we would give you a 21-day devotional ebook. You can set up an automation where Church Hub, as soon as people's name go into the system, Church Hub sends them that ebook and says, hey, I want you to commit the next 21 days to walking through this spiritual journey. Right? That's automated. Right? And then S is the scorecard. That's your flows. All right. So listen, I hope this was helpful for y'all who watched online. Man, our technology went a little bit crazy, but we got it. And I'm going to have to figure it out tonight before we get started with the Underdog Conference coming up on Thursday. But we do have some bonus sessions that are kicking off tomorrow. So if you're a pastor in one of our programs, you have a ticket. I've already sent it to you. I invited you to our group. So go check your emails, check your spam. I already sent you an invite to come into our members areas where you can plug in and you can get access to all of those different things. If you are not in our program and you have not registered, I want to encourage you. Take this moment to go to theunderdogconference.com and go and register, because if you register, whether you come live or not, you can get access to the replays. so that you can then be able to come in and see it. So you'll, once you register for the general conference, you will see an upgrade where you can register for to get the replays, and with the replays you get all of our documents and all of these SOPs you hear me talking about, and all of these workbooks that I'm talking about, and all of these GPTs and AI tools that we're talking about. You'll have links to those in your members area. We're going to be working through getting that rolled out for tomorrow. All right. So if you haven't already, go register for the underdogconference.com. Or if you're a pastor, you've been thinking about registering for one of our programs anyway, you can go and join our Church Sisters in a Box, and you can get your free ticket to the conference. All right. So we've got some really amazing stuff coming up. Thank y'all for being here. God bless y'all. And I will look forward to seeing y'all again coming up here very soon as we get ready to kick off the Underdog Conference. All right. God bless you, and we'll see you next week.
This is that.